I think it's unlimited or thousands. So I don't think there's any problem with the number.
Okay. Kakwan.
Yes, good morning, sir. How are you?
Yes, can you call the other panelists and to use what I send now?
Yeah, that's why I've started that. So let me continue. Thank you.
Janet, we are sorry. We have a big issue with the Zoom.
So I'm calling the other colleagues.
Okay. Bruce, you have the YouTube link. You put it on the Telegram. You are on mute.
Yes, I did, and I'll keep putting it on Telegram.
Okay, Janet and Kakwan. Hello. Janet and all panelists, please put your video. Janet, send your connection is not good. No, your connection is not good.
Let me try again.
Thomas and Kakwan, please put your video.
What about now? Can you hear me?
Yes, now is okay. Yes, now is okay.
So, hey, Bukhari, are you able to copy and paste that link I put in the chat into Telegram? Telegram will only let you send a message every 8 minutes or something. So I sent it once, but it's not letting me send it again.
I'm going to do that.
Great. I'm seeing your message come through. Yeah, I would just keep doing that.
Bruce,
Yes.
Shivam sent a message. Is it different from what we're using or what? Shivam sent a message right now.
Yes, Dr. Bukhari.
Yes, the message you sent, is it what we are using or is it different?
What message? I've sent you a link, right? To
Yes,
invite.
it's the same link we're using.
Yes, sir.
Are you talking about the Zoom link or the YouTube? Sorry.
There is a message, it says that dear all, and there's a meeting ID, a password, and a Zoom link.
That's for what we're using now for the panelists. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
And I am on YouTube and you can see us all. So the YouTube is working. Anyone who uses that link will be able to see us. And Bukhari, there are 290 people signed into the YouTube channel. So at least 290 people have figured it out.
Okay. Can someone get signed in with other facilitators? Thomas, please keep your video open, please.
Good morning.
Hello?
Yeah, good morning.
Yeah. Good morning, colleagues. Yeah, good morning. Thank you so much, Shamila, for the technical support.
Yes? Yes, I put you the new link. Just see you on the chat. I put you the new link. Use it, please. Just copy the. Yes, send to all the participants in your country, please. Yeah, thank you. I will leave. Yeah, thank you. Sally,
Yes.
Wilson and Thomas and Precious, please put your video, please. The video should be open all the time. Yes, and put it good so that we see you well.
Can you see me well?
No, you are not facing the light. You need to face the
I'm
light.
not facing. Okay, let me try another.
Shivam, give right to all panelists to share screen so that they can try.
Is this better?
Yes, it is better.
Okay.
So let us give ourselves, I think, 10 minutes so
Okay.
that continue to join the YouTube before we start.
So we are supposed to send a link to our participants from our country.
Yes, let me put it in the chat.
Thank you. Because they're asking a lot of questions.
Yes, I put it in the chat. Just use it and disseminate the link in all network. Precious, you are not you're in a vehicle. Precious, you are in a vehicle. This is not good, really.
Yes, Dr. Bukara, I'm in the vehicle, I'm in the field.
Okay, can you find a place where we can see you? Because we can, this is not good.
So Bukhari, right now we are broadcasting, and so everyone can hear us. Just
yes.
a reminder. Okay.
Can you make some testing to share the screen? Sally, try sharing your screen.
I should share my screen.
Yes, try and see how it is working.
Okay. Is it sharing? Can you see?
Yes. PowerPoint
Okay.
presentation.
So I should stop now.
No, put PowerPoint presentation more.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, it is okay.
I can go off.
Yes, we'll start at 20. We still
Okay.
James and Mugaga and Thomas, put your video, please. Karen and Shivam, can we get the link for the Portuguese session so that we start sending to them?
Sorry, could you repeat that?
The Portuguese session, if you can get the link and we start sending to them.
Okay. So is it okay if we do it the same way that we're doing it for this session?
So Karen, if the other 10,000 person webinar is not working, I think we have to do exactly what we're doing now, probably.
Okay, sure. So we will start working on the other two.
Yes, for the Lusophones, there are not many. They are less than 500, but Francophones, they are the same, like for Anglophone.
So maybe Karen, for the Portuguese, everyone should be able to join by Zoom. We hopefully won't need the YouTube.
Sorry, could you just repeat the numbers for the other two groups?
Come again?
The email or?
No, could you just repeat how many participants we have for the other two groups?
Yeah, for the French group, it's multiple thousands. So I guess you've got the 3,000 license. So that's
Yeah,
a
so-
question. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just check with the IT team. So we weren't able to use that either, but I can check if we can get it running for the French session. And for the Portuguese, we can just have it on Zoom then.
Have it on a regular Zoom for 500. Yep.
Dr. Bukhari, could you please share the panel?
I'm not able to hear you.
Dear panelists, can we put all our video? Sally, I think we can start. Over to you.
So, can I go ahead?
Yes, please.
Okay. Good morning, colleagues. I hope you are well. Our sincere apologies for the late start. We've had some technical challenges and we sincerely apologize. This is the first time we are doing this kind of thing and it will get better with time. So our sincere apologies. We hope you are all well this morning. I just want to take the opportunity to wish our Nigerian colleagues happy Independence Day. Thank you for using your holiday to learn about third edition IDSR. So because we have lost a bit of time, we'll quickly move on. So I have a short introductory presentation to share with you. So we'll move on. So yes, I welcome you. You're all warmly welcome, and we are looking forward to 11 weeks of exciting learning. I'll introduce the facilitators later on. My name is Saliano Hene. I'm the Disease Prevention and Control Officer in the WHO Country Office in Accra, Ghana. And I know we have all the English speaking countries in the Afro region represented. So I welcome each and every country participants. Because of time, I can't list all the countries, but just to let you know that you are all warmly welcome. So just a little bit of housekeeping information. So so we are using Zoom. I know that the YouTube link has been shared, but just in case some of us are using the Zoom, we are not doing interpretation today because this is for the English speaking countries. But if we were doing interpretation, the icon there would show you where to click for interpretation. Just to let you know that we have a chat box, that the chat box is for the, if there are any logistical or technical challenges, you can put them in the chat box. And then we have the question and answer box. That's where you put, if you have questions on the presentations and so on, that is where you would put your questions and answers will be provided. So this is our agenda. We're supposed to start at 8, but we are running late a bit, about 20 minutes or so late. We'll see how things go. Like I said, with time, hopefully it will get better. Then we will have a pre-test. It's more like a quiz, you know, like a quiz. And so just a few questions for us to have an idea of, test our knowledge before the training starts. And during the session, hopefully you'll be able to get the answer in case at the beginning you were not able to get the correct answer. And so we have Dr. Janet Magamba who will be taking us through the sessions today. Our backup is Dr. Kwakan Yelu. And so we'll go through the purpose and learning objectives, and then we'll also know why we are doing the third edition. She'll speak more about it, so I'll not go into those details, but as you know, this is the third edition of the IDSR. And then we'll go through the training course layout. We'll have some questions and answers, and then we will wrap up. Just to remind us about the various times, we are in about 3 or 4 time zones, so it's about 8:26 in Ghana, but our colleagues in East Africa, it's about 11:26. So just to reiterate some of the information and also a bit of new ones. So this session is being recorded and the session is supposed to last for 90 minutes. Please have your participants guide, the introduction model handy during the training, so that in case you need to have some reference or do some quick reference, you can check. And as I went through previously, for the chat icon, if there are any administrative, logistic, or technical concerns, you use that. If you have questions and answers, you use the Q&A. And at the end of the session, a certificate of participation can be downloaded. So a link will be sent to you, and all the participants will receive the video recording by email. So we will have a pre-test that will be sent by a link after this session. And then at the end of the 11 weeks training, then you'll be able to do another post-test that will give us an idea of how it has been, with the hope that the post-tests you will excel compared to the pre-test. Please, nobody is allowed to do worse than the pre-test, so kindly take note. So the facilitators, I'm happy to let you know that we have a wide range of facilitators from the African region. So we have Dr. Shamila Larifja, who is the National Professional Officer, Disease Prevention and Control in the WHO Country Office in the Gambia. We have Wilson Gachari, who's an epidemiologist in the WHO office in Sierra Leone. We have Janet Magamba, who is a medical doctor and assistant director in Tanzania. Then we have Thomas Nagbi, who is the director of the Infectious Disease and Epidemiology Division, National Public Health Institute of Liberia. We also have Gaga Malimbo, data manager in the WHO Country Office, Sierra Leone. We have Jeremy Sese, data manager in Liberia. We have Mohammed, senior public health specialist, James Squire, medical doctor. We have Charles Njuguna, and then we also have Alan Empari, who is in the Kenya WHO Health Emergency Hub. We also have Patricia Menjini from Cameroon Ministry of Health, and then Luca Ibrahim from Nigeria, Michael Jabin from the WHO Country Office, and then Wakwan Yuli from Liberia. Please forgive me if I didn't pronounce the names correctly, my sincere apologies, but you'll be meeting them as we go along, so you'll get to know them individually. So on that note, I want to thank you all once again for registering to take this training. It's really very exciting for us. And because of time, I will not go on too much. If you have any questions or comments, don't forget you can put them in the chat box if they are logistics, or if you have questions and answers on the technical issues, you can also put it in the Q&A. So on that, so thank you very much. I really appreciate you being with us, and please stay with us for the 11 weeks, 1st October to 10th December, Thursday morning. Thank you so much, and we are looking forward to an exciting time. Bye-bye. For now, I'll come back when it ends to wrap up. Thank you. So I will kindly request Dr. Janet to come on board to start with her session. Janet, are you there?
Yes.
Hi, Janet. Okay, yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Sally, my sister. And I would like again to introduce myself. I'm called Janet Mgamba, and I work with the ministry. I'm the Assistant Director for Epidemiology and Disease Control Section, and I will be taking through you today the first part of the introduction model, me and my brother Kwakwan from Liberia. So let me just give you a brief outline of the presentation today. So we will be looking on the purpose of the module, then the learning objectives, and then we will see how the introduction module is being subdivided. And specifically for today, we'll be talking about module A, which is Introduction to the Idsr course. And then we'll be doing a quick recap, that is a summary. And then as Sally said, we'll be having a Q&A. We're expecting that you'll be writing either through the Zoom, the chat, or Q&A, and also in the YouTube where we could address some of the technical questions. So let us just look briefly on our introductory module. As Sally has said and introduced all of us, we'll be taking you through the introduction module. And the main purpose of the introduction module, which is the initial module of the Idsr training manual, is first of all to understand the general objectives, structure, and the content of the training course, and how you should participate. But then we were going also to give you the brief concepts of Idsr strategy. And then we'll be also talking about the basic concepts of establishing and implementing the community-based surveillance. And also we will look on the genesis of the third revision of the Idsr training module. I understand a lot of you have been implementing Idsr, but why should we have now the new third revision of the training module? We'll be really touching base on that. And then looking on the organization of the Idsr training course itself, some concepts of public health surveillance, objectives and core function of Idsr, roles and responsibilities, and then the whole concept of IHR and how it is being related to the Idsr, and basically concentrating on the One Health approach. But we also have Idsr linkages. When you talk about linkages, we will explain to you what linkages are we going to concentrate. For instance, the disaster risk management is one aspect of which we have been implementing for quite some time, but we want to make that bridging aspect, how it is going to be linked with Idsr, and then the concepts of community-based surveillance, as I've already told you. So I understand that we have given you a link of the whole package, training package, and if you could try to remind yourself how the introduction module is being subdivided. We have subdivided the introduction module into three main aspects. So the first submodule, that is submodule A, it's about the introduction to the Idsr course itself, of which we will be taking you through in this session today. But then there's going to be submodule B, which will give us an overview of Idsr, and then submodule C, which is going to concentrate mainly on community-based surveillance. So for today's session, we are only going to concentrate on the introduction to the Idsr training course, which is submodule A. So the outline of this submodule A, which is part of the whole introduction module, it will now concentrate on why should we think about the Idsr training module, what is the genesis, and then we'll talk about the purpose and learning objective of the Idsr training course, and then the justification of review of the second edition, because now we have the third edition. So we will be going through together the justification for the review, and what exactly are the new key areas when you're talking about the new Idsr training modules. So what are the new areas in this third edition? And then briefly looking on the general Idsr training course layout. And then the last one, it will be brief description of the training modules themselves. So I don't know how many of you remember that last year, our ministers of health adopted a document which is called the Regional Strategy for Integrated Disease Surveillance and Response. So this is a commitment which was made by our ministers of health in Brazzaville during the WHO Afro regional meeting. And this now is the basis of why should we really be doing the training in Idsr. So this document is called the Regional Strategy for Integrated Disease Surveillance and Response, and it has a span of 10 years, that is 2020 to 2030. And there are various targets as well as indicators which our ministers have signed. And I don't know whether you remember some of the objectives or you have seen the documents, but we could just give you a brief of the objective of this big document, which is the basis of why are we doing this training of Idsr. So the big document, which is a document which we have adopted, has got 4 main objectives. The first objective is to strengthen capacity for early detection, recording, timely reporting, analysis and feedback. The second objective is to strengthen the lab capacity. The third objective is to strengthen the overall capacity for public health preparedness and response. And the last objective is to strengthen supervision, monitoring, and evaluation system for Idsr. So this document, which both of us, the 47 African countries we have adopted, have got 4 objectives. And the document has also targets which have been set aside as we are approaching 2030. And I've only highlighted one of the targets, which we are now doing it now. And one of the targets is by 2030, all the 47 countries have adequate, skilled, and competent health personnel for Idsr implementation in overall. But then also, based on the training and the capacity building, then we will be able to reach the target, which is having a functional eIDSR with over 90% coverage as a national target. So this actually forms now the basis of why should we do this training. We have a commitment our ministers have signed, and we have to attain this target by 2030. So now why should we really do this course? Of course, we have the document, it's okay. But then I think each one of us has been really implementing Idsr. Some of us are new, but then for some of us who have been implementing Idsr since 1998, when we adopted the Idsr strategy, we still are seeing challenges. And I can cite some of the challenges of which we are seeing. I know you have got many challenges. Some of you can also put challenges in the chat. But as being one of the person who has been implementing Idsr for quite some time, one of the biggest challenges is that we only see Idsr, our role as sending the document into the next level, sending reports into the national level. But then that aspect of analysis, many of the health facilities somehow are not doing it very well. When we look on issues of data itself, the quality of the quality of data is not the quality of which we are expecting. And also overall, when you look on the standard case definitions, many people in the national level, they might have the standard case definitions, but then when you look now into the lower level, we don't really have those standard case definitions. So these are some of the few challenges which we have been seeing. We have been implementing Idsr, but now we need to refocus ourselves. We have a document to guide us. We have a target. And so the main purpose of really doing this training course is to improve our skills our knowledge. We have been doing these things, but then we need now to really like refocus ourselves, improve the skills and knowledge so that we could be able really to contribute to a better surveillance system within the country, the better lab and response system. But more importantly, we want all of us to have these skills, which should result in a more timely detection of public health events, more response, and ultimately reducing morbidity and mortality in our communities. So this is actually the basis of us doing this course, and we want to do it. We want to reach the target. We want to do it a bit different. So our main objective now, because the last slide we're talking about the purpose, but what our main objective of us doing the course, just to underscore the importance and opportunity for us to have those kind of practical skills and activities which are going to be involved in our everyday surveillance and disease control, but then also gaining appropriate knowledge, gaining appropriate skills so that we could be able to use data for action, data to detect, data to respond to priority disease so as to prevent disabilities, morbidity, and mortality within the countries. So let's now look into specifically this, the whole of this training. We will concentrate on basically 4 or 5 main objectives. The course is itself, the Idsr training modules, there are 11 modules, but in this visual training, we'll be only concentrating on the 4 modules. I will give you the highlights of it, but then now specifically, what are we able to attain after the 11-week session? First of all, we'll be able to identify and record cases, conditions, and events of public health importance, but also we'll also understand how to report suspected cases, how to report conditions or events of public health importance. We'll also be able to understand the new skills of doing analysis using electronic platform, interpret data for action, but also understand the use of the digital platform, the Idsr, as an important tool to enhance detection, as an important tool to do analysis, but as an important tool to enhance Idsr implementation. So I'm requesting you to put questions in the chat, questions in the Q&A, and those who are streaming, please put your technical questions in the YouTube. There is an area where you could also put questions if you want to more clarification. Well, many of us, so we could clarify many things. So now I want us to look on why exactly do we have the 3rd revised new Idsr technical guideline? Because now this is going to form the basis of the training modules. Many of us have been implementing the 2nd revision, the 2nd revised Idsr technical guide, but now we have the 3rd revision. So why, first of all, we should look, why was there a justification to review the 2nd edition? And we have many, we've cited only the few. So the first one, we wanted to align ourselves with the current situation. We understand in the African region, we have been seeing a lot of new emerging and re-emerging diseases, and we could cite some of them. We had leaf cirrhosis in South Africa. I think it was last 2 years. We did not have in the past, maybe 5 or 6 years prior. But then we also wanted to revise so that we could really understand what are the needs of various member states. When we adopted in 1998 our Idsr strategy, there was no electronic platform. And as countries now embark into new needs, there was a need now to review the 2nd edition. But we also wanted to align ourselves with the strategy, the health security and emergency strategy. I don't know how many of you participants have actually looked into this strategy. It was adopted in 2016, and it is also in the website. So we wanted also to align our new Idsr strategy based on the issues of health security, Many of you understand how we responded to the Ebola outbreak, how we really understand that we have a lot of challenges in terms of capacity in addressing health security. So we had a document, we adopted, our ministers adopted this document. So we wanted to align the new Idsr strategy with this new document, which has got also targets, which has got also ambitions of which we need to attain. We know we are ending in 2020, but somehow many of the countries have attained something. So we also wanted to update the guidelines. Now, based on so many new developments, I've already highlighted to you some of the emerging and emerging priority diseases, conditions, and events, but also incorporate new recommendations from Idsr review committee. People have been talking about One Health approach, and the whole issue of Idsr, it's actually a One Health approach. When you're talking about public health events, you're talking about zoonotic, you're talking about radionuclear. So the first edition and the second edition, there was not much on One Health approach, and we want Idsr within our countries to be a One Health approach, just as what we did in the COVID-19. So this new Idsr technical guideline talks about emphasizing One Health approach, but disaster risk management strategy. So we see that as we are implementing Idsr, these two main frameworks have been really vertical, but they should speak to each other. Idsr is actually one of the good ingredients of an early warning system to the DRM. So the new strategy, the new Idsr technical guideline talks about this. And also, we also revised the Idsr technical guideline, taking into account some of the lessons learned from the outbreak and other humanitarian crises. Taking to advance of technology, I've talked about the electronic platform, the GIS, the mobile phone, and then now scaling out this e-surveillance system as a way of really doing the capacity building, like now what we are doing the Zoom, but also putting some of the Idsr in the e-learning platform. So based on all those, the second edition of technical guideline was reviewed, and now that is why we have the technical training modules, which now aim to really give people the new issues which are going to be addressed in the third edition of technical guideline.
Janice,
so which are now these
interrupt you for let me interrupt you for a few minutes. Colleagues, you can put your questions in the Telegram. You can put your questions in the Telegram. And we will be answering the questions there. So if you have any questions, you can just put them on the Telegram and we'll respond there. Janet, thank you for allowing me to interrupt. My apologies. Just to give that information to participants. Thank you. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Sally. Please, as Sally has said, please, not only questions, even because we know you also have something to share. So if you have anything to share, please put it in the Telegram, as Sally has said. So I just want to touch base on some of the new areas now in the third edition of the Idsr technical guideline and also in the training modules. So what are the new things of which we have actually put in the Idsr training module? So the first issue is how we should strengthen our indicator-based surveillance. We want to have better analysis, reporting, and use of data for action. But another new area which has been a bit of a challenge within the African region is the issue of event-based surveillance and community-based surveillance as key important tool for early warning systems. So we have elaborated on how countries should establish event-based surveillance, but then border surveillance and response. We see there are a lot of cross-border issues even in the current COVID-19. So the new Idsr training modules and the technical guideline touch base on cross-border surveillance and the frameworks and what needs to be done. Idsr in One Health concept, I think I've already emphasized it, that Idsr is not only a health issue, it's a cut-across issue. Innovation, we're not talking about innovation, we're talking about electronic platform. And then I have already talked about Idsr in disaster risk management. in most of the countries, these two elements were categorically, they were not linking, but they are linking in the new Idsr training module, and the technical guide and emphasize about this. Emphasize on how you should do Idsr in emergency or fragile health system context. And this is an area which is new, but we have been having challenges on how to establish Idsr in emergency situations. And then port of entry and Idsr. Many of the countries, I think, when you're talking about port of entry, it's something which is really separate from Idsr, and the new technical guide and the training modules have emphasized that actually port of entry, they should feed into Idsr. They are part and parcel of reporting unit or facility. They should inform Idsr as a role. And then communicating risk, how we should communicate risk prior, during, and even after response. So we have emphasized that in the new Idsr training module and the technical guideline. So now briefly on how we have organized the training. So we have 11 modules, and I want you to understand there are 11 modules, and even in your participant guide, in your documents, you have 11 modules, but then the current visual training, it will only be for few modules. That is introduction, module 1, 2, 3, and 9. And then there are going to be 11 sessions starting from October to November. I think Sally has already said. And each module is linked to the 3rd edition Idsr technical guide. So we are emphasizing that please read the Idsr technical guide, because each module is linked, is reference to this main document. We'll be using PowerPoints and then group work exercises, individual work, and plenary discussions, and you'll be told what needs to be done. So this is a span of how we are starting today with module 1, subcomponent A. So the module 1 will be ending on the 22nd of October. This is how we are going to end as a panelist for module introduction, and then, but the whole sessions will be 11, and they will end in December 10. We want all of you to be around so that you complete and have a certificate. So the training materials, I think Sally has already touched base a bit. So the main document which we should use, of course you could use others, but then we are encouraging you to use the 3rd edition WHO Afro technical guideline for Idsr. These are the new technical guide, and then the international health regulation, and then the facilitator and participant guide and the training slide. So if we do not have any of these, please write in the chat, write anywhere so that you could be sent links. So you have your guide. I think you know how it is subdivided. So introduction, purpose, learning objective, and we encourage you to use participant notes, right, so that you can keep those books as references, and then exercise summary and references. Sally has already mentioned about assessment. I think it's very good to have an assessment, but this only guides us and you where we should concentrate. So we will also have them, as Sally has already described, but then we are also planning to do a post-Idsr training monitoring and evaluation. I think it's important for you to understand that we want the skills which you have to be really practiced. So I would like now to call my co-facilitator, Kwakwan, to wrap up with a brief description of the training modules. Please, Kwakwan, you're welcome, my brother.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jenin, for the brilliant presentation. And good morning, colleagues. Good morning, everyone. So as Dr. Jenin said, my name is Kwakwan from Liberia, WHO Country Office, and we'll be providing support during the course of the training. So briefly, as she said, the Idsr 3rd edition has 11 sessions, but for the purpose of this training, we will be looking at 4 of the sessions. So the introductory module introduces the Idsr course structure how it's arranged as has been explained by my co-facilitator earlier. So they also looks at the overview of Idsr strategy and its linkages with the International Health Regulation 2005, and also the disaster risk management, cross-border surveillance, and the rest that already been explained. So this introductory module provides guidance for establishing the community-based surveillance to increase sensitivity of surveillance system for early detection and response. As may be aware, in most of the African countries, if you looked at the, you analyze the indicator for community case detection is very low. So it is important that we focus on this particular aspect. So because of that, this was one of the key reasons also that the Idsr second edition was revised to ensure that these they focus on other components of the Idsr strategy within the WHO African region. They are all inclusive within the guidelines to guide the implementation of the IHR 2005. So it also emphasizes on the integration of the event-based surveillance into community-based surveillance, which contributes to early warning and alert. So when the community system is very strong enough, cases will be detected timely and reported within the surveillance structure in a timely manner, and response will be initiated timely that will avert high level of mobility and mortality. Next. Next, please. So you will also be looking at the module 1, which focuses on identifying and recording cases of priority diseases, conditions, and events. So this module describes how to identify priority diseases, conditions, and events using standard case definitions. As you may be aware, standard case definition is an agreed upon set of criteria used to identify cases. And it has some clinical criteria. And the essence of using a standard case definition is to ensure that to ease the issue of analysis, to ensure that diseases that are detected in the same country are the same. For example, if we give different case definition at different level of the surveillance system within a country, for cholera to be different in different district or district E and different in another district, when you compare this data for the national system to analyze it, it will be very difficult. So you use an agreed upon set criteria to ensure that data are analyzed to ensure a timely response to diseases, to project the clear representation of what is happening across the country. So module 1 also gives a description of procedures for planning surveillance and response activities in your catchment area. So there will be guidance provided in subsequent presentations as we go further with the weekly training, that how you use those methods to be able to plan for your surveillance activity at the various levels of the surveillance system, ranging from the national, the subnational level, which includes the counties for some countries, district level, and also health facility. You could also plan for the community levels also. So this module also further emphasizes the role of laboratory in surveillance and response. And as may be aware, this component of the surveillance system, the laboratory component, is very key, because if there is no lab, you will never be able to confirm cases and confirm outbreaks. So people will be moving, you will never know the type of disease or virus, the type of viruses or bacteria that is causing that particular disease that may be killing people. So this module 1 can be found in section 1 of the Idsr edition technical guidelines, which I believe has been shared with all participants and facilitators. Next, please. Next, please. Okay, thank you. So module 2 focuses on reporting priority diseases, conditions, and events. And as Dr. Sally and Dr. Jenna said, each of the WHO African countries have a structural surveillance system that has been functional for a very long time. As may be aware, some countries, like for my own country, we adapted the Afro Idsr first edition in 2004. So just imagine, so the system exists and all of you have been working with this system. So this module describes how to report priority diseases, conditions, and events within the required timelines. So as you may be aware, we have the completeness and timeliness of reporting, which is being monitored across all the levels within the WHO region. So if, for example, a national system sets reporting deadline for Monday, 5 o'clock, every level within the surveillance system is required to report within that time to meet the timeliness of that reporting period, which is actually monitored by Afro also. And we, in this module, during the subsequent presentation, you will get to know that the importance of completeness of reporting, the completeness of the reporting coverage. Because if you have, for example, in my country, we have 15 counties. So among the 15 counties, if only 3 reported or 5 reported, and the rest did not report for that particular period, we will not understand the disease condition in those particular counties. So it is important that we focus on this. So this will also be explained or elaborated more by other facilitators. So this can be found in section 2 of the Idsr edition. So module 3 focuses on analysis and interpretation of data. As you may be aware, surveillance is actually used to take informed scientific decision. And these decisions cannot be taken without quality data. And before you get a quality data, you must have analyzed to be able to interpret this data to make sense to decision makers. So this module describes how to receive surveillance data and analyze it by time, place, and person. And at all levels of the surveillance system, you will be taught or you will be reminded during subsequent presentations to be able to analyze your data by time, person, place, and person, which also informs you at the various level to understand the trend of those priority diseases that may be of high disease burden within your area of assignment or within your county or district. So it also provides guidance on how to interpret the analyzed data. So this can also be found in section 3 of the Idsr edition technical guidelines. Next, please. So the last module is module 9, electronic Idsr, electronic integrated disease surveillance and response. And one of the reasons that Jennifer elaborated earlier for the revision of the second edition of the Afro Idsr technical guidelines was to make use of the technology that we have in the world now. So to ensure timely and adequate reporting for timely initiation of response, we have to prioritize electronic surveillance. So as you may be aware, this has been established in almost all the African countries. And if an alert is generated at a facility in one of the hard-to-reach areas, that alert is sent directly to the district, county, and national level. So this informs timely reporting. So this module provides guidance in the use of electronic platforms to facilitate implementation of Idsr activity on reporting, analysis of data. And most countries use different open data source platforms that are interoperable with existing structure. For example, like the Ministry of Health HMIS or DHIS2. So these systems are linked to the national platform to ensure that cases that are detected through this electronic platform are received at the national level in a timely manner. So the source of this module is section 9 of the Idsr 10th edition technical guidelines. Next. Okay. So I think this is the last slide. So the summary of module E. So Dr. Janet has explained to you and made a lot of emphasis on the genesis of the Idsr technical training modules, while we revise the second technical guidelines and the training modules and how they were organized. And we've also emphasized on the aim of this Idsr training, which focuses on building skills, which will enable each and every one of you to be able to timely detect and respond to epidemic-prone diseases and outbreak or other public health events in your community using the standard case definition that has been adapted or agreed upon within your surveillance system by all the technical leads with support from AFRO. Next. So thank you very much for listening, and those questions, we will try our best to answer them. Over to you, Dr. Janet. Thank you.
So thank you very much. Thank you very much, my brother, Kokwan. And I want to now bring in Sally to try and give us some of the questions. I've been also looking in the Telegram, trying to respond to some of the participants who are saying the training, the packages, for instance, like the IHR 2005, the treaty itself and the articles are not found in the district. And I think this is an area where some of us who are participating, who are in the national level, they need really to ensure the documents are trickling down. So there were a lot of issues on the technical guidelines not really been found at the lower level. But Sally, can I please ask you to guide us on some of the more questions, because I've been looking on the Telegram, but I've not been able to look on the Q&A. Sally, please.
Okay, thank you, Janet. And thank you, Kwakwan, also for the presentation. Very well done. So yes, with regard to the questions, quite a number of them were comments regarding requesting the training materials, whether participants will be able to get the slides and the recording. So just to reassure everyone, the training materials will be sent. The session is being recorded and will be shared. The Idsr guidelines will be shared. The slides will also be shared. I just want to apologize about the pre-test because of the switch to YouTube, we were not able to do it. But hopefully next time, we are actually working on the technical issues. And again, I want to apologize one more time that the next session next week, which is 8th October, this problem will be solved, the technical challenges will be solved, and everybody will be able to join in through the Zoom. So our sincere apologies. So the questions, some questions are already being answered, and Shamila, thank you so much for responding to some of the questions. The questions have to do with using IDSR also for diseases like TB and HIV, issues to do with pre-service training, introduction of IDSR in pre-service training. So those are mainly the key issues, and then the issue of One Health. So Janet, would you want to just make some comments on some of these issues? General comments.
Yes, the general comment. I think, Sally, participants are bringing out a very important aspect, especially in terms of having continuity of these trainings. And I think the best approach using the pre-service training, involving universities, involving institutions. I think this should be the right approach in many countries, because people change. You train a couple of colleagues today, they're not going to be here in the next maybe 5 to 10 years. So I think we should really, countries should really think about making this as a some elements of IDSR in the pre-service training. And I think this is really a good idea. One Health approach, I can't really emphasize on One Health approach. If we look on the experience of which we are now dealing with COVID-19, it's not only the health matter. We detect, we respond using a multi-sectoral approach. It's not only a one sector. We have seen transportation, we have seen trade being affected. We have seen it goes beyond health. And I think when the Idsr was adopted in 1998, because it was adopted by the ministers of health, people were thinking, other stakeholders were thinking that this is part of Ministry of Health. But when you look on how we respond to so many diseases, we have a lot of examples, and my brother Kokwan will also give you an experience. IDSR, I think it has to be having an ownership. It has to have a whole of society, One Health approach, and together we can move. Together we can move. Kokwan, can you underscore the issue of One Health approach, please?
Yes, thank you very much, Dr. Janet. So in our country, right after the Ebola outbreak and experiences gained from the response to Ebola in our country, we sat and revitalized the IDSR system. And our second module, our second technical guidelines, we included the leadership component, which was missing with the first guidelines. So the essence of that is to ensure that the local authorities stand for response to disease outbreaks within the various districts. They were isolated initially, which impeded the timely response to these things, and we saw a lot of community resistance. So based on that experience, we included the leadership component, which Afro saw, and it was very important. And when they revised the second edition, this One Health approach came about. And in our country, we have also inaugurated a One Health platform. So when we're responding to any disease outbreak, we go along. We have now empowered the Ministry of Agriculture, the Animal Health Police. In the 15 counties in Liberia, we have deployed 15 animal health officers in those areas. Even at the border crossing points, we also have these people. So when outbreak occurred that is zoonotic in nature, we also include the environmental goal. So because one sector cannot respond holistically to any emerging or re-emerging infectious disease. So it is important. And the key to this One Health platform or One Health approach is the government response, the government willingness to lead this platform, which has helped us enough, even with this COVID-19 response, to the reason for which our cases never escalated, the reason for which community resistance was not that much is because of this One Health approach, including multi-sectorial partners to respond to an epidemic. So I think it's a good platform, and in subsequent presentations, we'll elaborate more for people to understand what has helped us and what has helped other countries. So with the pre-service training institutions in our country, have started that. I think we were one of the few African countries that initiated this pre-service, introducing IDSR into pre-service training. And this because we realized that people who graduate from the medical school and other training institutions, when they are deployed to the counties, they don't understand what IDSR means. So to train them, it becomes difficult. So we thought it was to ensure that the ideas that Afro brought, to ensure that all the healthcare workers that will go through every training institution in our country are exposed to the technical guidelines, the strategy. So when they get out there, they will not be novices to the implementation of the IDSR strategy, which has actually helped us. And we have completed, but COVID-19 came and now we are about to restart to continue. So I think the issue of the One Health platform, the pre-service training are key strategies that will drive the robust implementation of IDSR within the African region of WHO. Over.
Okay. Thank you very much, my brother Kokran. So, Sally?
Yes. So thank you very much for those comments. And indeed, IDSR cuts across sectors. So for this training, it's not just for those in the human health sector. We are expecting our veterinary service colleagues, environmental health. It's even in the health sector, it cuts across cadres, laboratory, facility, institutional public health units, disease surveillance, clinicians. So we can also tell our colleagues about it so that it will be a great opportunity for them also to take advantage of this online training. Like I mentioned before, the technical issues are being sorted out, and from the next session, it will get better. So our apologies once again. So I think those are the general issues that came up for discussion. But the Telegram link should also be shared. It's also a good opportunity for interaction and more learning from colleagues. Like we just learned from the Liberia experience of in-service training, it's an opportunity also to learn from each other what other countries are doing to improve surveillance and disease detection, prevention, and also control and response. So those are the comments that I want to add. And we were supposed to have all this in 1.5 hours. We were delayed, but fortunately we are still within time. So just to reiterate that this is 11 sessions from 1st October starting today to 10th December. It's an hour and a half. We start at 8 a.m. GMT. That's Greenwich Mean Time. And then is that time is 9 a.m. Nigeria or Brazzaville time. And then it's 10 a.m. Harare time. And then 11 a.m. in East Africa time. So just to reiterate that information will be shared the links to the materials have already been shared on the Telegram. It will be reposted for those who are joining, but you can click on the link to access all these documents. And like I said before, the session is being recorded and will be shared as well as the slides. So I'll just give maybe opportunity in case any of the other facilitators have any comments. But if not, I want to thank everyone. So my colleague Thomas wants to say a few words, and then afterwards I'll come back and wrap up. So Thomas, you have the floor. So unmute, and then you can speak.
I think it's important to further amplify what Yelu have just said. What we have done so far, if you look at the structure, Idsr implementation or public health surveillance implementation in Liberia has been totally integrated within the context of One Health. For instance, looking at coordination, we have the chair of the National Surveillance Technical Working Group being chaired by the Human Health and co-chaired by Animal Health. When you look at the lab component, it's being chaired by Animal Health and co-chaired by Human Health. So we have strategically ensured that we integrated all the key, IHR or elements or key other institutions that are needed in the rollout of IHR and One Health within the context of what we're doing in Idsr. And it is important to also note now that we are also working on an e-platform, an integrated e-platform that will report both animal health related diseases using the same platform that human health surveillance officers are also going to be using. So I think these are fine examples that further demonstrate how you can utilize or how you can operationalize One Health activities across countries. It is important to note.
Thank you, Thomas, for sharing those experiences. As we go along, I think there will be opportunity to share more experiences. I would like to use this opportunity to say a big thank you to Janet and Kwakwan and all the facilitators. I want to say thank you to our Afro colleagues for spearheading this. I want to say thank you also to the ECHO team. At the beginning, we're not sure when we're having all these technical challenges, whether to cancel, but fortunately, they came up with a plan B and participants were able to join through the YouTube. But like we said, we are working on it, and we hope it will get better. So please stay with us and also spread the word, encourage people also to join. And a link will be shared to participants to complete a survey and also to receive the certificate of participation. So thank you all very much. And I wish you a fruitful day. Happy celebration to our colleagues in Nigeria. And looking forward to see you again next week, same time, Thursday, 8th October. So thank you all very much and have a wonderful day. All right, bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you, bye-bye.
Okay,
Bye.
just
Thanks, everyone.
Yes, okay, now the training is finished.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Hello? Yes. So for information about the admin and logistic.
Hey, Bukhari.
Yes, I'm giving some
Bukhari,
information.
Let's ask the IT team to stop recording and streaming, and we
Yes.
can